What is going on, guys? This is the Inside the Blue podcast, and today we have another mock draft, our 11th on the channel. Got a little bit of some criticism last time about some of the picks. Some were saying it was trash. I'm going to tell you this right now. I am only selecting for the New York Giants for now. The computers are drafting for the other teams. So if you see, the Bears taking Drake May over Caleb Williams, or the Patriots taking, Brock Bowers, or a weird pick, or, the Jets not taking offensive line, Jaden Daniels falling, whatever. Just wanted to get that out there that I don't make every single pick yet. After the Super Bowl, you're going to see my full mock draft for every single team, breaking down every single team. So, just wanted to get that out there because I did receive some criticism. Hopefully that, helps you guys out of what we're actually doing. But we get into the mock draft, of course. PFF board apparently updated again. Got a few texts from some of my buddies that they updated again. So I'm going to do another mock draft today. But anyways, of course, the Bears selected number 1. Is it going to be Drake May? Is it going to be Caleb Williams? Let's find out. And so there is the start of the draft. Kind of how it should go. Honestly, kind of how it should go. This is probably the most realistic we've gotten. I'd had to say, Caleb Williams, top tier prospect, one of the better ones in recent memory. Drake May, another really solid prospect. They have Jaden Daniels going to the Patriots, so any Patriot fans out there, you guys get a new QB. Looks like Mac Jones' era is coming to an end. Marvin Harrison Jr. heading to the Cardinals, and then Malik Neighbors heading to the Los Angeles Chargers, joining Jim Harbaugh and Justin Herbert. That should be a really good team offensively, grabbing a guy like Malik Neighbors. Marvin Harrison Jr. helping out Kyler Murray. Jaden Daniels, they need a new QB. Why not take a shot on the Heisman winner? Drake May, solid QB. Another UNC quarterback. Of course, they drafted Sam Howell before. There's Mitch Trubisky. We will see how that pick unfolds, but the big one is that the Bears do select Caleb Williams, and I think that's kind of how it should go. This is honestly how it probably should go come draft day in April. It just makes the most sense. But for the Giants, this is kind of a no-brainer. Taking Joe Alt from Notre Dame. Giants need offensive line help. We all know that. Their offensive line ranked 32nd in the league last season. So why not take a guy like Joe Alt, really solid prospect, up and down, good hands, all that sort of stuff. So Byron Murphy goes right before the New York Giants. Tyler Guyton, so another good offensive lineman. Troy Vitano heading to the Washington Commanders. Zach Frazier goes ahead of us. Keon Coleman. So, previously they have taken Michael Penix here. Michael Penix is still there on the board. I don't believe the Giants are going to go Michael Penix Jr., but I also, wouldn't be surprised, right? I think he's solid. He's got a good arm. Kind of reminds you of a guy like Tua. Really solid arm. Has injury history, but could sling the football. These are the other picks. Troy Franklin, Jackson Powers Johnson. The Eagles feel that they need more wide receiver help instead of corner. They go Brian Thomas Jr. here. I mean, that's a really solid 1, 2, 3 with A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and Brian Thomas Jr., but I'm surprised they didn't go like Quinton Mitchell or another cornerback. But J.C. Latham, Teron Arnold. So 3 straight Bama picks there. Definitely do like the Bengals taking offensive line. The rest, Bo Nix heading to the Vikings. Vashanu heads to the Jets. So both New York teams grab their offensive linemen. Rome Odunze goes right after. Cooper DeJean heading to the Falcons. So Dallas Turner fell all the way down to 15. Interesting. Interesting, interesting. Definitely uh, kind of shocked about that. I think he's a really good player. Um, Definitely high on my board. So the Patriots took Keon Coleman, Byron Murphy, all that sort of stuff. All right. So we look at the draft board. Have some options here. Of course, we went offensive line first. So they could go. They could be the team that grabs Michael Penix Jr. But we have already seen that a lot of people in the Giants locker room and the front office, they still believe in Daniel Jones, right? They gave him a 4-year deal. He's heading into his second year, of that contract. If they do decide to cut him at the end of the year, they do save a lot of money. Michael Penix Jr. isn't, too young. He's more of the middle, kind of the middle. He's not young like the other QBs in this draft, but you know, I still think he is a solid player. Michael Penix Jr. He's 23 years old, but I thought he was a little older than that, to be honest. But I mean, I feel like when you have the opportunity to draft a QB, you could draft a QB, right? I don't know how the Giants feel about that Michael Penix Jr. throws left-handed. I don't think that really takes, a big concern. I think the big concern is that he's had a shoulder injury. He's had ACL injuries. So, I mean, you're kind of taking a high risk, especially with that trash MetLife field. Do you go a guy like this? Do you go a cornerback like TJ Tampa? A lot of options here. Definitely, you could even go Chris Jenkins to build up that offensive line. Because, this team needs help on the defensive line. Dexter Lawrence is kind of in his own land because he really carries that defensive line. A lot of good players, honestly, up and down. I feel that the Giants can go. But I do believe this honestly could be a defensive lineman pick. I really do. Because I don't know if I see, with how committed the Giants are to Daniel Jones, do they take a guy like Michael Penix Jr.? Now, I'm not surprised he's here on the second round at all. I don't think he's going to be a first-round pick. I don't even think Bo Nix is going to be a first-round pick. I think both of those guys are day 2 picks. J.J. McCarthy, I don't really know where he's going to go, but I don't think he's going to be a bad player in the NFL. I don't. I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, he has a noodle arm, he has this, he has that. He's a competitor, and he can get better, right? It's not like, oh, he stays at this certain level. Like, J.J. McCarthy could be a solid QB in the NFL. It's up to him, though, But I do believe, going to get a little interesting with it. I think we're gonna take the defensive line here in round 2. Out of Michigan, so they get a solid Michigan player. And you know what? This isn't a bad outcome at all. They can go guard with Christian Haynes still. We've taken him a few times. Could change it up and take a guy like Graham Barton, who is solid at Duke. Go a guy like Patrick Paul, who's a big guy, right? He's 6'7", 315 pounds. I mean, this guy is a big guy. He's got solid hands. But I do believe guard is more important than tackle right now. So that's just what I think. I think you can honestly put all 3 of those offensive linemen in the conversation. You could maybe put Jalen Polk there if they want to go wide receiver. And I think that's really where I stand. I don't think they're going to go all the way down to like Jeremy Trotter, who's probably the best linebacker in the class, I'd say. And I don't think they're going to go Devondre Sweat, who is very good, because we just drafted Chris Jenkins. So don't believe they're going to do that. I really do think, though, this might be a Christian Haynes spot at guard. Had a really good Senior Bowl. I've taken him a lot now because, after that Senior Bowl, I really liked what I saw. Good offensive lineman. Can, really protect the QB, and that's what we need out of this offensive line. Build the offensive line for Daniel Jones. This QB has Daniel Jones. As much as you hate the contract, and you may hate the player, he's never had time in the pocket. He's never had a wide receiver one. He's been set up for failure. Daniel Jones has been set up for failure, and it's a bad look for the New York Giants organization. For any QB coming into this, in the future, just in the future, are they going to build around him, or are they just going to let him squash and basically die out there? Because Daniel Jones died out there, that Miami game, and then he tore his ACL against the Raiders. I do think he was also suffering maybe a head injury, because there were just some throws that were like way off, and these were like 5-yard passes. I just don't think Daniel Jones is going to win you a Super Bowl, but I do believe that he could be a decent QB and maybe a better situation. He's got the legs to outrun a lot of linebackers, edge rushers, all of that. He has a good enough arm. It's just him looking downfield and him reading the field is what I worry about, and you need to be good at that if you want to be a successful QB. But this is going to be a Christian Haynes spot. Out of all those guys, I probably like Christian Haynes the most, to be honest. But heading into the third round, we'll look at the second round before we head up and draft again. So, second round. Oops. So, after our Christian Haynes pick, Xavier Leggetti, I believe it is, went before us. Solid wide receiver. In real life, I don't think they're going to take him. J.J. McCarthy heads to the Las Vegas Raiders in the second round. Who did they take before that? I believe the Raiders took Johnny Newton. Okay, so they go QB. I think that's the right pick. I actually do think he's going to go to the Raiders. Out of all the teams, Brendan Rice goes. A few more Michigan guys. Roman Wilson, who had that really solid Senior Bowl, heads to the Carolina Panthers to help out Bryce Young. That Carolina team needs a lot of help. Up and down. They need a lot of help in many ways, because they're just a bad team and kind of setting up Bryce Young for failure. But looking at this board now, you can maybe go wide receiver at Ricky Pearsall, but it's probably not the guy I'm going to go. You could take a running back. You could take Leonard Taylor. You could take a guy like Rook, which probably isn't the pick. Taking 2 defensive linemen in the first 3 rounds definitely isn't very smart. Peyton Wilson is still here. And I feel like I take him every mock draft. And it's just because he's so good, right? This guy is all over the field. You look at what he plays, right? This guy, he has played the slot. He played 1 snap at corner in 2023. He plays everywhere, and I don't think the new defensive coordinator, Shane Bowen, will be mad moving Peyton Wilson around for the New York Giants. Of course, that's going to be in our next Giants video, breaking down the Shane Bowen hiring. I'm not going to give you my thoughts now. I'm just going to save it for the video. They could even go running back here with Trey Benson if they wanted to. So, looking at the draft, Jalen Wright is also not bad. Doesn't particularly look like a a guy that can really catch the ball as a running back, probably just an elusive back. But I think the pick is going. I wonder why they have Peyton Wilson so low. That's definitely interesting. They could even go cornerback here. They could definitely go cornerback with Kalen Carson, but I'm going to go with no other than Peyton Wilson at North Carolina State. I just think that's kind of, it's kind of a why not pick, right? He's solid. He could play everywhere. So that's going to wrap up the draft. We'll break it down in a moment. Of course, this is our selections this time. I think we did pretty good. Joe Alt being the main guy. The Giants need offensive line. They addressed that right away. Since Jaden Daniels wasn't there, since Malik Neighbors wasn't there. So they go to plan C and take offensive line. And why not Joe Alt, right? We don't know what is going to go with Evan Neal next season. Is he going to be somewhat decent and show Giants fans in the front office hope? Or is it going to be another disaster season where he's out for most of the year and doesn't really do anything? Chris Jenkins, that Michigan defensive line was unreal. And why not getting one on the Giants, right? Really solid player. Christian Haynes, really good up and down. For everything. He's good at everything. And the Giants needed an offensive lineman that can play guard at an elite level. And I believe Christian Haynes can definitely do that. Peyton Wilson now. I wouldn't necessarily say this is more just a depth pick. It's kind of, he plays all around. And, to get him in round 3 at pick 70, 84th overall on PFF, I just think it's a good pick, right? Because of the fact that he can play everywhere, you can have him rush the QB on certain plays. Now, I think if they draft Peyton Wilson, I don't know if Isaiah Simmons is back. I would like for them to re-sign not Peyton Wilson. I would like for them to re-sign Isaiah Simmons for, cheap, short price. I think they could definitely get it done, like 3 years, $15 million, 5 years, $5 million a year, something like that they could do. But yeah, let's also see the first round. See how that goes. So this is the first round. I don't hate it at all. I think this is one of the better ones that PFF has done for us, right? I think they nailed the first 5 picks. Well, 6 picks, but technically 5 because we drafted for the New York Giants only. Caleb Williams going to number 1, A+. Drake May, A. Jaden Daniels, A. All those type of grades. I think they did a really solid job. I think they did. And I think, the thing with, the Giants, right? This is kind of the best value they have at 6. I don't know if they would go Rome Odunze with both Neighbors and Harrison Jr. off the board. Now, I think Odunze is good, but I think this is really a Joe Alt or Vashanu pick, and I think not only the Giants, I think a lot of GMs prefer Joe Alt over Vashanu. Giants are definitely not taking Brock Bowers. They're not taking Cooper DeJean. But yeah. Sorry, I just keep yawning. Early morning mock draft. But, a few of these other picks that I liked. Let me just see. So, look at the other side of the board. J.C. Latham heading to the Rams. Like that pick. Why not beef up the offensive line that had some struggles? Teron Arnold heading to the Steelers. Another good cornerback going to be there. Kool-Aid McKinstry going to the Dolphins. Solid. Now, I think the reason why the Eagles went wide receiver was because they wanted Kool-Aid McKinstry and they didn't get him. And, with Quinton Mitchell, I think he's good. Like, I've drafted him many times. But is he really the best out there left? They don't believe that. Green Bay goes another wide receiver to help out Jordan Love, who had a solid season. Lions go cornerback. Bills go cornerback. Interesting. Because Keon Coleman was still on the board, I believe. I believe he was the second-round pick. I think the Bills have to go wide receiver. I really do believe that they need a wide receiver help. Because without, Stephon Diggs, really, because Stephon Diggs wasn't really the Stephon Diggs that we know that dominates, takes over a game. It was more James Cook and Dalton Kincaid and their tight ends. And Josh Allen needs someone to throw to, right? If Diggs is on his way out of Buffalo soon, whether it's in a year or this year or next or in 2 years, they're going to have to draft a wide receiver. They have to. You look at all these teams that are having really good teams. They've drafted wide receivers. Look at the team that just beat the Bills. The Chiefs. Rashee Rice. Really solid player. Back in a few years ago, Jamar Chase gets drafted. Helps out Joe Burrow. A.J. Brown gets traded to the Eagles. Helps out Jalen Hurts. What is it for Josh Allen that, what are they going to do for Josh Allen? But anyways, guys, that has been another mock draft. Hopefully I don't get too much criticism for taking Joe out at 6 or any of my picks. Just remember, I only draft for the New York Giants, not the computer. The computer does whatever the hell it wants. So don't get mad at me if your team makes a bad pick. I'm not selecting it. The computer is. But that's going to do it for this episode. Of course, hit that subscribe button. We're on the road to 100 subscribers on this podcast. Of course, check out our other videos for the Rangers, Giants, or Yankees. Definitely a lot more content in the future. And we also have a Super Bowl prediction video coming out very soon as well. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.